Have you been feeling like something inside you is changing, even if you can't explain it? Maybe you've been replaying old memories. Maybe certain people suddenly feel distant. Or maybe you're asking yourself questions you've avoided for years. If that's happening, don't ignore it. Because before August 6th and 7th, one of the most emotionally powerful astrological shifts is taking place. Chiron, the asteroid often called the wounded healer, is entering its retrograde phase. Now here's what most people get wrong. This isn't about punishment. This isn't about bad luck. It's about healing the part of you that's been quietly asking for attention. And over the next few minutes, you'll discover why this period could become one of the most life-changing emotional resets of your year, if you're willing to listen. So stay with me until the end, because the final message might completely change the way you see what's happening in your life right now. 1. What Chiron Retrograde really means. When people hear the word retrograde, they immediately think of chaos, broken relationships, miscommunication, unexpected problems. But Chiron works differently. Unlike other planetary retrogrades, Chiron doesn't simply shake up your external world. It quietly turns your attention inward. Think of it like opening a room in your heart that has been locked for years. Inside that room are old disappointments, childhood memories, moments where you felt rejected, times you believed you weren't enough. Normally, life keeps us busy enough that we never truly look inside. But during Chiron retrograde, those emotions often rise to the surface, not because they're trying to hurt you, but because they're finally ready to heal. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack for years. At first, you barely notice its weight, but once someone points it out, you suddenly realize how exhausted you've become. That's exactly how emotional wounds work. They silently influence your confidence, your relationships, your decisions, until one day, you finally recognize them. And recognition is where healing begins. The days leading into August 6th and 7th may feel unusually emotional for many people, not because something terrible is happening, but because something hidden is finally becoming visible. Sometimes growth doesn't begin with answers, it begins with awareness. 2. The hidden signs you may already be experiencing. Here's where things become incredibly interesting. Long before people notice a major shift in their lives, they often notice small changes happening within themselves. These changes can be easy to dismiss. You might think you're just tired, or stressed, or simply overthinking. But what if those quiet inner shifts are asking for your attention? For many people who follow astrology, Chiron retrograde is seen as a time when old emotional patterns become easier to recognize, not because the universe is trying to overwhelm you, but because you're finally in a position to notice what has been there all along. Have you caught yourself replaying conversations from years ago? Maybe a memory suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Perhaps someone you haven't spoken to in a long time keeps crossing your mind. Or you've had vivid dreams that feel unusually emotional. These moments don't necessarily predict the future. Instead, they can become opportunities to understand yourself more deeply. Another sign many people describe is feeling emotionally sensitive. A simple comment may affect you more than usual. A song you've heard 100 times suddenly brings tears to your eyes. You may find yourself craving quiet instead of constant noise. You might even feel the need to step away from social media, endless scrolling, or people who leave you feeling emotionally drained. And here's something even more important. You may begin noticing repeating patterns, the same kinds of friendships, the same relationship challenges, the same self-doubt showing up in different situations. When the same lesson keeps appearing in different forms, it may be worth asking yourself one powerful question. What is this experience trying to teach me? Sometimes life isn't repeating itself to punish you. Sometimes it's giving you another chance to respond differently. You may also feel an unexpected desire to simplify your life, to clear out old belongings, to organize your space, to spend more time alone, to reconnect with hobbies you've forgotten. These small actions can reflect a larger inner shift, the desire to create room for a new version of yourself. And perhaps the biggest sign of all, you're starting to question the stories you've believed for years. The story that you're not good enough, the story that you're always behind, the story that your past determines your future. What if those stories were never permanent? What if they were only chapters, not the entire book? As August 6th and 7th approach, don't rush to label every emotion as good or bad. Simply observe, listen, be curious, because awareness is often the very first step toward healing, and sometimes the quietest signs become the beginning of the biggest transformation. 3. Why this period feels so personal? Have you ever wondered why certain moments in life feel deeply personal, even when nothing dramatic is happening on the outside? That's the unique energy many people associate with Chiron Retrograde. Unlike astrological events that are often linked to external changes, this one encourages you to look inward. It's less about what happens around you and more about how you understand your own experiences. Here's a question worth sitting with. What pain have you been carrying so long that it started to feel normal? For some people, it's the fear of being rejected. For others, it's the feeling of never being enough. Maybe it's the pressure to always be perfect, to never make mistakes, to constantly prove your worth. These emotional patterns don't appear overnight. They often begin with small moments from the past. A harsh comment, a broken promise, a disappointment, a time when you felt unseen, unheard, or misunderstood. Over the years, those moments can quietly become beliefs. Beliefs like, I have to earn love. I'll always be overlooked. I'm not capable of more. The challenge is that once we believe those stories, we start making decisions based on them. We avoid opportunities. We settle for less than we deserve. We stay in situations that no longer help us grow. Not because we're weak, but because familiar pain often feels safer than unfamiliar change. That's why this period can feel so emotional. It's not necessarily bringing you new wounds. It's giving you a chance to notice the old ones with fresh eyes. And awareness is powerful, because you can't change what you refuse to see. Think about a mirror that's been covered in dust for years. The reflection was always there. It was simply hidden. As the dust is wiped away, nothing new is created. You simply begin to see yourself more clearly. In many ways, that's what this season of reflection can represent. A chance to separate your true identity from the fears you've collected over time. Remember this, your past may explain your scars, but it doesn't have to write your future. You are more than your hardest day, more than your biggest mistake, more than someone else's opinion of you. Healing doesn't ask you to erase your past. It asks you to stop allowing it to define every decision you make. So if old emotions rise to the surface over the next few days, don't immediately push them away. Pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself what those feelings might be trying to teach you. Sometimes the lesson isn't about going backward. It's about finally giving yourself permission to move forward. And perhaps that's why this period feels so personal. Because the greatest transformation isn't about becoming someone else. It's about remembering the person you were before fear, disappointment, and self-doubt convinced you to become someone smaller. That realization alone can become the beginning of an entirely new chapter in your life. 4. What you should avoid before. As we move closer to August 6th and 7th, there's an important question to ask. If this period is about reflection and healing, what should you avoid doing? The first thing is simple. Don't make major emotional decisions in the heat of the moment. If an old memory suddenly comes back, if someone from your past reaches out, or if you're feeling more emotional than usual. Give yourself time before reacting. Not every feeling requires immediate action. Sometimes emotions are asking to be understood, not acted upon. The second thing to avoid is comparing your journey to everyone else's. In today's world, it's incredibly easy to believe that everyone else has life figured out. You see promotions, engagement announcements, dream vacations, perfect families. But remember, social media usually shows the highlights, not the healing process. Your timeline is unique, your lessons are unique, and your growth doesn't need to match anyone else's. The third mistake is pretending you're fine when you're clearly not. Many of us were taught that being strong means hiding our emotions, but true strength isn't pretending nothing hurts. True strength is having the courage to face what's real. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to rest, rest. If you need a quiet evening instead of another distraction, honor that need without guilt. Another habit worth avoiding is constantly replaying your past mistakes. Yes, learn from them, but don't build a permanent home inside them. The purpose of reflection isn't to punish yourself. It's to gain wisdom that helps you make different choices moving forward. Ask yourself this: am I learning from my past, or simply reliving it? There's a big difference. Also, be careful not to surround yourself with people who constantly drain your energy. If every conversation leaves you feeling smaller, more anxious, or emotionally exhausted, it may be time to create healthier boundaries. Protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's necessary. This can also be a wonderful time to take a break from constant noise. Turn off notifications for a while. Take a walk without your phone. Write down your thoughts in a journal. Sit quietly with a cup of coffee or tea and simply observe your own mind. Sometimes the answers you've been searching for aren't hiding. They're just being drowned out by distractions. And finally, avoid believing that healing has a deadline. You don't have to become a completely different person before August 6th or 7th. This isn't a race. It's a process. Every honest conversation with yourself, every small act of self-respect, every decision to let go of an old belief is progress. So instead of asking, how fast can I heal? Try asking, what's one small step I can take today that my future self will thank me for? Because lasting transformation rarely happens all at once. It happens one choice, one realization, and one courageous moment at a time. 5. The opportunity hidden inside. This retrograde. After everything we've talked about, one question remains: why does any of this matter? Because every season of reflection carries a hidden opportunity. While many people focus on what they might lose during a retrograde, they often overlook what they have the chance to gain: clarity, confidence, peace, and perhaps, most importantly, a healthier relationship with themselves. Think about it. How many decisions have you made based on fear instead of faith in yourself? How many opportunities have you walked away from because you doubted your abilities? How many dreams have stayed on the shelf because you kept waiting for the perfect time? Chiron Retrograde invites you to pause and ask a different question. What would my life look like if I stopped letting old wounds make today's decisions? That's a powerful thought, because healing isn't just about looking backward. It's about creating a better future. Imagine waking up each morning without constantly questioning your worth. Imagine speaking your truth without fearing rejection. Imagine setting healthy boundaries without feeling guilty. Imagine celebrating your progress instead of criticizing every mistake. Those changes don't happen overnight. But every meaningful transformation starts with one decision: the decision to stop fighting yourself. You don't have to become fearless. You simply have to become willing to forgive yourself for what you didn't know, willing to release expectations that no longer fit the person you're becoming, willing to believe that your future can be different from your past. As August 6th and 7th approach, try giving yourself one simple gift. A few moments of complete honesty. Sit quietly. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself these 3 questions. What am I ready to let go of? What lesson am I finally ready to accept? And what kind of person do I want to become from this moment forward? You don't need to have every answer today. Sometimes asking the right questions is more important than rushing toward the perfect answer. Remember, your scars tell a story of survival. They are evidence that you've made it through difficult seasons. But they are not the final chapter of your life. You still have pages left to write. You still have dreams waiting to be lived. You still have strengths you haven't fully discovered. Whether you see Chiron Retrograde as a meaningful astrological symbol or simply as a reminder to slow down and reflect, this moment offers an invitation to release what no longer serves you, to speak to yourself with greater compassion, to make choices that align with the person you're becoming, not the fears you've carried for years. Because sometimes the greatest miracle isn't that life suddenly changes around you. Sometimes the greatest miracle is realizing that you have changed within. And when your mindset changes, your choices begin to change. When your choices change, your direction changes. And when your direction changes, your entire future can begin to unfold in ways you never expected. So don't fear this season. Embrace it, because hidden inside this retrograde may not be an ending, but the quiet beginning of your strongest, wisest, and most authentic chapter yet. So, before August 6th and 7th arrive, ask yourself one simple question. What part of me is ready to heal? If this message resonated with you, leave the word healing in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you're releasing during this Chiron retrograde. And if you believe someone in your life needs this reminder today, share this video with them. Remember, the greatest transformations don't always begin with massive events. Sometimes they begin with one quiet moment of honesty. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.